All right, we are recording. This is video number 3, classifying asthma severity and initiating therapy by yours truly. In this video, we're going to just get into the components, just like the title says. We're going to be talking about, impairments and risk. So let's dive into it. All right, so key components of impairment. Yeah, symptom frequency. So basically looking at coughing, wheezing, chest tightness, shortness of breath, this dyspnea pretty much, how often they're occurring. So it's either going to be intermittent or persistent. So for intermittent, it's going to be less than 2 times a week. It's just intermittent, easy peasy. So for persistent, as you see down there, more than twice a week. So there's different kinds of persistent. It could be mild, moderate, or severe. So for mild persistent, it's more than 2 times a week, but not daily. For moderate, it is daily. And then severe, it's just throughout. It's pretty much a few times, several times, maybe throughout the day. All right. So that's a very key component on how these guys measured and put them into categories. And it's, based on age group, and we're going to get into all that. All right. So same thing, key components of impairment. Looking at that, using that bronchodilator, frequency of the rescue med use, right? So like I said, looking at the specifically using the SABA, intermittent, it's getting used just 2 times a week or less. All right. Now for persistent, mildly, it's 2 times a week, but not daily, or it's greater than 2 times a week, just not daily or twice in one day. So they can use them a few days a week, but it just as long as it's not daily, it's considered mild. And then moderate is where they are using that SABA daily. And then severe classification of persistent, they are going to be using SABA, using that inhaler several times a day. All right, so staying with key components of impairment, interference with normal activity. So this is pretty much assessing, just like it says right there, how that asthma's affect individual's ability, to engage in daily activities, work, school, whatever they got going on in their life. So back to intermittent and persistent. Intermittent, there's no interference. Everything's fine. Go about your daily life as normal. So if it's persistent, if it's mild, it's going to be just a minor limitation. If it's moderate, it's going to be some limitation, which is a little bit more than minor. And then if it's severe, it's going to be extremely limited in basically a lot of interference with normal activity. And it's definitely not, doesn't sound like a good time. So that's how we assess how asthma affects individuals' ability to partake in daily lives. All right. And then we're going to look at lung function. Sorry, I don't know why my voice goes out on these videos. So when we're looking at lung function, oh man, look, it's focused on that FEV1, then that FEV1 FVC ratio. Okay. So normal for all different age groups has a normal. 8 to 19, normal is going to be 85%. The age range from 20 to 39 is going to be 80%. And then as we keep going up, it obviously you can see it starts to decrease. So 40 to 59-year-old, it's going to be 75%. And then 60 to 80-year-olds, it's going to be 70%. So obviously, as we get older, our lungs don't work the same. All right. So looking at lung function with these patients, our asthmatic patients, looking at the FEV1, FVC ratio. All right. So if they're going to be intermittent, they're going to have normal FVC between exacerbations over 80%. And then they're going to have a norm FEV1 percentage or FEV1 FVC ratio between exacerbations above 85%. So it's going to be, if it's intermittent, It's going to have mostly normal values. All right, now that we switch to persistent, if it's mild, they're going to have a FVC greater than 80%. But their FVC, and then for 5 to 11-year-olds, that FEV1 percentage is going to be greater than 80%. And then 12 and up, that FEV1 percentage is going to be normal. All right, for moderate, FVC is going to be 60 to 80%. So now you're starting to see the effects. It affects them a little bit more. And then that FEV1 percentage for 5 to 11-year-olds is going to be 75 to 80%. So we're starting to drop down. And then 12 and up, that FEV1 FVC ratio is going to be reduced 5%. And that's for moderate persistence, which is category under persistent. And then we move to severe. That FVC is going to be below 60%. And then that the FEV1 FVC ratio for 5 to 11-year-olds is going to be below 75%. And then it's going to, for 12 and up, ages 12 and up, that reduction is going to be greater than 5%. All right. All right. And then finally, we're going to talk about risk. So asthma exacerbations requiring oral systemic corticosteroids. So same theme all along this video has been intermittent and persistent. So with intermittent, all ages 0 to 1 a year. So at the most, one exacerbation a year is all you can have for it to be considered intermittent. All right, more than that, and it's going to be classified as persistent. So pretty much more frequency, more of the episodes get worse, more severe risk. All right. So for persistent, you got mild, moderate, severe. So for 0 to 4-year-olds, it's going to be more than 2 exacerbations in 6 months, or some wheezing greater than 4 times a year. And then the risk factors for persistent asthma are present. And then for ages 5 and up, it's pretty simple. It's mild, moderate, severe, all of them. It's 2 or more exacerbations per year. So, and then like I said, the more frequent, more episodes, more severe risk these patients have. All right. So that will conclude video 3. And we'll have one more video in this series. And I'm going to stop recording.